Aberdeen, and they're going to need another one tonight, despite that lead.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. You know, it's a hostile environment in Cyprus here, and they're going to need to have their wits about them. But very much like the last round against Cherokee Brieg, I'm confident that Aberdeen have got that mentality about them, and that they're in a very good position with that 2-1 lead from the first leg. The Aberdeen side more than capable of seeing this through and getting to the next round, which they've failed to do in the last few years.
Wonderful travelling support as well for Aberdeen, but it is a sellout. And something that the Apollon Limassol head coach Fronis Avgousti suspended tonight from the touchline. He said that the crowd at Pittodrie in the first leg was a massive factor. It overwhelmed his side to an extent in that 2-1 defeat.
Well, when Pittodrie is full, it can be a great positive for the home side, and perhaps the Cypriots hadn't expected such a lively crowd and thought that this leg here would have been the one that the crowd would have played a part in. As I said before, I'm sure that this Aberdeen side have got a real good mentality about them, that they're going to be able to thrive on this and not have a problem and not use it as a negative. They'll use this as a positive. They'll thrive, they'll use it to drive them on. And you see that support there, travelled all the way over from Scotland. They'll be confident as well that this side can do what's needing to be done.
It was something they were warned about ahead of the game in Bosnia and Herzegovina against Cherokee Brieg. They said they were going to be walking into a cauldron. It didn't affect them that night. Our referee today, by the way, is Stefan Klochner, who actually took charge of Celtic's 4-0 win over Linfield in the Champions League qualifiers this season. And the captain's armband is the man who got the winning goal last week. An absolute cracker from Graham Shinnie in that one, Michael.
Yeah, it was a wonderful goal, wasn't it? Sets this second leg up really well, and he has become a real driving force for the Aberdeen side, the captain, Graham Shinnie. He sets the tempo for the side from the middle of the park, and I would imagine that it's going to be very much the same in this game here. Putting tackles in, closing the opposition down, driving the team forward. He's a huge player for Aberdeen.
There is Terry McInnes, who says his side are out to score goals tonight. Just one change for them from the first leg, and that's Stockley coming in up front to replace Nicky Maynard, who drops to the bench. Rooney out with a hamstring injury. He was for the first leg. He doesn't even travel for the second one. Apollon Limassol, meanwhile, without central midfielder Esteban Sacchetti after his sending off the Argentine in the first leg. And stepping in on the touchline tonight is Periklis Papapanigis, due to the head coach serving that touchline ban for over-celebrating a goal in the first leg. Avgousti watching from the stands. We're underway in Cyprus. Aberdeen are edging ever closer to the Europa League proper. But tonight they must stay professional, as they were away at Cherokee Brieg in the last round. 2-1 is the aggregate lead against one of the top sides in this country. I'm Rob Daly, alongside me Michael Stewart. Michael, a huge 90 minutes on the way for Aberdeen here.
Undoubtedly. Dent McInnes has made a big point of looking to progress further than they have in the last couple of years in Europe. A lot of emphasis on this competition. It's a massive night. But I think it shows the progress of Aberdeen, that they're, taking this 2-1 lead into the second round, but they're coming here confident that they can see it through. They were very unfortunate last year against Maribor. I thought they'd done enough that game as well to progress, but big moments in the game went against them, and they're going to have to, as we said earlier, have their wits about them in this game, but confident that they've got that mentality that will see them through.
It's probably, as Christie commits the challenge here on Jander, the problematic left-back, it's quite a good indicator of progress if Aberdeen can get through to the playoff stage. Kairat Ismati and Real Sociedad also in recent years knocking them out at this very stage. Here's Jander. Now, he likes to get forward and even central from left-back, scored in the first leg. Mishits the effort, but early signs of his menace.
Yeah, well, I think you saw it in the first leg as well. He was a real attacking threat from the left-hand side, causing a lot of problems for Aberdeen. And you see there again, typical modern-day fullback Jander. He likes to get forward. As long as he stays on his right foot and has shots like that, then we'll be quite happy.
Nipped in at the back post for the equaliser in the first leg. Ryan Christie had given Aberdeen an early lead with a header for a 25-yard effort from Graham Shinnie into the top corner. Won the game against Apollon Limassol, who were down to 10 men at that stage, up to the sending off of Saketi. Foul on Stewart. Michael, this is an Aberdeen side that have lost key players in the summer. Derek McInnes was talking about this. Do they look any weaker to you?
Arguably look stronger, Rob. You know, they've recruited very well in the summer. You're right, obviously they've lost a few key players. Some would say arguably the three best players, but they've recruited very well, and you could say that they are actually stronger. I think the top end of the park with Rooney out shows that there's maybe a lack of depth there. Jayden Stockley's a completely different player, but if they were able to bring in a Louis Malt that they're reputed to be going after, then I think they would be in a very, very good position with regards to not only playing back home domestically in Scotland, but also in Europe.
Jander just running this one out of play. Really bounced up on the surface there. Wasn't easy to deal with for Mark Reynolds. It's also interesting in the extent to which Derek McInnes is not changing, barely changing his 11. Sure, Kyriakou came on for his debut, well, his second debut if you like, last time out, but the team's barely changing at all. This is the man in, Stockley, and that's part of his job, really getting stuck in those situations.
Well, that's what he does bring to the game. You know, he brings the ability to win the aerial challenges. It's a poor challenge there from Jander. It was a little bit naive and silly. He was never going to win the ball, and it was cute play from Stockley. He recognised the challenge was coming in, and to get the free kick is a good opportunity now to get the ball into the box.
Swept across by Logan. Players still forward here for Aberdeen. Goalkeeper Bruno Vale comes and claims the captain for Apollon Limassol. Yuste, one of the two centre-backs, the Spaniard. Surface is quick, we've seen a lot of that. We knew the temperature was going to be pretty warm this evening, but we've seen it skid up off the surface a couple of times now.
That's really good play there from Jayden Stockley. That's what you need from your centre forward. That's what he's in the team for. As that long ball comes up to him, if he's able to control it like that and lay it off, it gives the team the opportunity to get themselves up the park. Acts as a platform in the final third. He's capable of it, but sometimes I think he doesn't do it enough.
Came on in the first leg, Jayden Stockley, 5 league goals last season. Only made 8 league starts, in fact, for Aberdeen. In by Logan. Flicked on by Stockley, really good aerial work. Met at the back post by Considine. Dealt with by Reynolds. Well, they scored from this kind of area in the first leg. Down that right-hand side. Apollon. Comfortable this one for Joe Lewis.
It was comfortable, Rob, but when the ball gets played back there to Pedro and he's thrown the ball into the box, the defence have got to push out. He sees that ball comes back, the defence doesn't really shift out too much. It's a poor cross in the end and Joe Lewis can easily collect it. But you want to push out and create as much space between yourself and the goalkeeper so he can command that area. If the gap's still too tight, then it gives a problem for the goalkeeper at times.
Great running from Shinnie, who after his spectacular effort last week thought he could repeat the trick. A lovely work from the centre of the park from the captain. (27°C, by the way, this evening. Just gone past 8 o'clock local time, and Derek McInnes said the atmosphere wouldn't be a factor for his players, but the heat might be. And especially with the possibility, should it go 2-1 after 90 minutes to Apollon Limassol, this will go to extra time.
There's no question playing in such heat is difficult. That's why it's important to get yourself into a good shape and almost work as a collective unit rather than individuals wasting energy and getting picked off. And you saw that there perfectly in that last phase of play. Aberdeen were shaped up really well. Kyriakou, the centre midfielder for Limassol, was dropping in very deep, but he had no options. He ended up playing a 50-60 yard ball to nobody.
It's a quiet sit down for Stewart, who perseveres, and that's good work from Aberdeen.
It was good work, and it's just exploiting the gap that Jander leaves. You know, he's an attacking fullback, he doesn't want to be defending, and Greg Stewart exploited the space there, and it was, to be honest, it was pretty poor defending from Roberge, the left-sided centre half.
Greg Stewart will look to whip this one into the middle. Mackay-Steven asking the question of Bruno Vale, the veteran goalkeeper. Christie picks up the pieces. Opportunity here for Stewart to get it into the middle. Will be a free kick. Good stuff here from Aberdeen at the moment in dangerous areas as Christie nipped in first.
It just shows a good level of concentration from Aberdeen players. I mean, it's clearly a free kick, but it's a good level of concentration, that they're quick to the second balls, and it shows you that they're fit. You know, I think that was the big thing that took from the last round away from home against Cherokee. They were very fit, sharp, and that indicates that just right there with Ryan Christie nicking in and getting the free kick.
He looks sharper than any other in red at the moment, and his delivery was dipping. Mackay-Steven whipped in by Shinnie. Home side struggling to settle in the game at the moment due to Aberdeen's work rate. And I think it's a head injury here for João Pedro that has seen the referee stop play. If we're getting a drop ball here, Michael, he just seemed to be trying to explain something to Valentin Roberge, one of the centre-backs.
Yeah, I think so. I think the referee's called it right. You know, there was it ended up, it actually wasn't a head knock, it was more the landing, but I don't think the referee was given a free kick there. It's the right call. Anthony O'Connor was up there challenging for the ball fairly. The two of them just collided with each other. Good refereeing. It ended up being a back knock, but you see that it is a drop ball. I'm not so sure if I was Aberdeen I'd just be knocking it back though.
Yeah, McLean goes back to the goalkeeper, and João Pedro, who can play on the right wing, formerly of Braga, one of a couple of players in the squad with links to the big Portuguese club. Permanent signing last summer. So some key players to watch out for here today. Number 10 for Apollon Limassol, not in possession here. Alex was actually a little bit deeper, and perhaps not the most convincing bit of play from Stewart, but they get away with it.
He held up really well and it allowed the team to get up. He isn't under a great deal of pressure there, and he miscontrols it almost. It just allows Apollon Limassol to keep Aberdeen on the back foot.
Jakoliš, one of two changes into the Limassol side. Not too much contact there, but the referee has given the free kick. Apollon Limassol finished third in the Cypriot First Division last season, 1 point behind Larnaca and 5 adrift of the dominant force in Cypriot football, Apoel, who generally play their football in the Champions League. Although Apollon Limassol did beat them in the cup final and finished last season with silverware. Jander. Forward again, Jander. Oh, it's not even a left back, the position he pops up in. Aberdeen move it away.
And you see on occasions there that Greg Stewart's almost becoming a right back at times, tracking Jander back. Aberdeen have got to try and look, I think, to exploit that gap that Jander leaves. You know, if Greg Stewart's going to go back and track him, they've got to look to try and release somebody into the gap behind the left back and down the side of Roberge, the left-sided centre-half. That's the avenue and the route for Aberdeen to counter. The only problem is if Greg Stewart's back very deep, you need to try and perhaps get the ball into Ryan Christie and get others to spring into that hole.
Stockley wins the free kick this time.
See, that's good play. You know, even though he doesn't win the ball, and even if he hadn't got a free kick, he's disrupting the back line. They're not getting free headers, and that helps.
McLean. Had to win that, Mackay-Steven. Aberdeen must stretch for a moment, and they'll play on. Comes out here to Schembri, Maltese international forward, who's playing on the left-hand side today. Moved out by Alex. João Pedro. Well played, Shinnie. Aberdeen's midfield working very well at the moment. A little bit loose here. Alex, top scorer last season. with 12 league goals. Jander, well, he's the problem, isn't he, at the moment? Oh, and real whip on the delivery. Still alive here for Apollon Limassol, and they have scored. No surprise that it comes down the left-hand side. And Aberdeen technically trail now on the away goals rule.
It's a very, very disappointing goal for Aberdeen to lose. No surprise that it comes from the left-hand side with Jander. One-on-one v Greg Stewart. It's not a position that you want your team to be in, with the winger facing the attacking full-back. And once he beats Greg Stewart, look at the acres of space that he's got, and he whips in a wonderful ball. It just doesn't get dealt with by the Aberdeen backline. And eventually Schembri putting it into the back of the net. Difficult one for Aberdeen. Disappointing. Lots of bodies back there. Eventually you see Maglica cutting the ball back, and Mackay-Steven's not able to keep it out. Puts Aberdeen in a position where they know what they need to do. They need to score now, and perhaps it's a better position. Rather than trying to defend the lead that they had, they know they need to go and score now.
Christie brought down. Schembri, formerly of Boa Vista, the Maltese international, who scored in both legs of their win over Zaria Balti of Moldova in the last round, has made the breakthrough. 2-2 on aggregate. Shinnie. The ball's getting up off this surface anyway. It was always going to be difficult to make that tip. Why was the back four so narrow there, Michael? It was interesting to see Logan inside the penalty area.
Yeah, well, they're obviously, looking to make sure that they've got plenty of bodies inside the box, and they were hoping that Greg Stewart would be able to handle Jander one-on-one. But for me, it's not a position that you want to get into. You're right, Shea Logan was well inside the 18-yard box. He's got to try and help and double up, because you don't want Greg Stewart to be having to defend against Jander, and you don't want him to be in those areas where he's left 1v1, because they've paid the price for it. I'd even think about changing the formation for Aberdeen and think about trying to get Shinnie or McLean in the middle of the park to almost act as a buffer and try and slide across and help out on that right-hand side.
Well, they had a player sent off in the first leg. It's the first yellow of the second leg for Apollon Limassol, and it is João Pedro who picks it up. Christie looking to swing this free kick into the middle. Scored with a header himself in the first leg. Oh, it's a really testing one, and Bruno Vale, the goalkeeper, had to come across.
It's a really good bit of play from Ryan Christie. Poor from the wall though. They split very easily. They managed to slide it through the two of them.
Overhit for Stockley. He's one of those players they're trying to aim for at the moment, backed by Logan. Nicely done by Stewart, but Jander denies him.
I know it's very difficult to do it away from home, but I would almost think about saying to Greg Stewart just to cheat, to play in behind Jander and make the left back think that he's not got a free licence to go and run forward.
Christie. McLean. Get into the player's head in a sense in that way.
Yeah, because at the moment, Jander's playing his normal game. He's in his rhythm. He's attacking and he's forcing Greg Stewart back. Get one of the two midfielders in McLean or Shinnie to almost slide across and act as that buffer between Jander and Shea Logan, and allow Greg Stewart to, I say cheat, but play tactically on the backside of Jander and get him to think that, well, have not got a free licence to run forward, and effectively tried to force Jander back the field, because he's clearly the danger man for the Cypriots attacking wise.
Shinnie, fairly won, says the referee Stefan Klausner. Of course, beat Cherokee Brig of Bosnia and Herzegovina in the last round, Aberdeen. 1-1 at home, 2-0 away from home to get that 3-1 aggregate victory, thanks to goals from Stewart and Mackay-Steven.
The disappointing thing is you see Maglica cutting the ball back here, Schembri sliding into the net. There's so many bodies back from Aberdeen. But sometimes it can be a curse, because there's so many bodies back that you end up thinking that someone else is going to pick the player up. And Schembri finds a pocket of space and he's able to slide into the back of the net. At the moment, the Cypriots have got the upper hand and they're controlling possession, and they're just pulling Aberdeen around a little bit.
Kyriakou found a little bit of rhythm here, the home team. McLean. Oh, Mackay-Steven has salvaged that somehow. He was superb in the first leg. Stockley. First touch is legal.
Wonderful bit of skill from Mackay-Steven out on the far side. And then the early cross to try and pick Stockley out here. I think that is fair enough. You see it comes off his collarbone area almost there.
No way through this time for one of the new Aberdeen signings. Mackay-Steven, first half especially down the left, was whipping in plenty of crosses and finding time and space. They've actually made a change at right back for this game. Apollon Limassol, I wonder if they feel that João Pedro will deal with him better.
Well, at the moment he's not had to do a great deal defensively. Apollon have been the ones on the front foot, and a slight concern here is that you know, if the game continues in this vein, then it's tiring, it's energy sapping when you're having to defend and chase and close people down. When Aberdeen do get possession, they've got to be clever, look to try and control the tempo when they have the ball.
Switched out by Alef, former Brazil youth international, only 22 on loan from Braga for the season. Mackay-Steven. It's wonderful touches from him again. Shame about the pass, Alef reads it. His distribution hasn't been great, but he has been breaking up stuff in the middle. Michael, I'd point to the fact that into the late stages of the second qualifying round tie, Aberdeen were going out. I mean, it wasn't looking that comfortable against Cherokee Brig. They weren't having any problems caused by the Bosnian Herzegovina side, but it wasn't too late that they really established that lead.
Yeah, but the whole time, Rob, you were confident that Aberdeen were in control of the tie. The tie was building up the way that you would have wanted it from Aberdeen. You know, they kept themselves in the tie in the first. They kept themselves in the game in the first half. They didn't really offer a great deal going forward, but Cherokee Brig were very similar. They were attacking sense. They were pretty quiet. In the second half, Aberdeen, you know, started to become a real attacking threat, and the game built up in a way that you would have been happy. At the moment, obviously, losing that early goal gives Apollon the initiative here, it's a wee bit of a concern, because they've also got the upper hand in the game itself. And Aberdeen have got to change something, whereas in that, as I was saying, in that second leg against Cherokee, they didn't have to change anything. They just kept building and moving forward, and the momentum built up. They've got to try and change something here. The dynamics in the game are not with them at the moment.
So a quick water break because of the warm conditions agreed by both teams. As mentioned previously, Apollon head coach Safronis Avgousti is serving a touchline ban after being sent to the stands in the first leg. And the referee report showed after that it was because he over-celebrated the equaliser in a provocative manner in front of the home bench and even went on the pitch. So that's why he's not on the touchline for Apollon tonight. Moved out by Hector Yuste, a new signing on a free transfer from Real Mallorca. In by Alex, claimed by Lewis.
That's another example where, you know, Shea Logan's tucking in tight, doesn't want to get exposed, because Schembri is almost going in next to Maglica in the centre of the park. And Greg Stewart's been forced into a right-back area. Sometimes you just got to take not so much a gamble, but you've got to stand up and step up to the plate. And Shea Logan's got to tell Greg Stewart at times, stay up, I've got him, go 1v1. The two centre-halves will have to deal with Maglica and Schembri coming in. And you've got your two defensive midfielders to help you out there as well. You don't want your wingers ending up playing in the full-back area.
Moved on by O'Connor, on by Logan. Stockley is the man they're aiming for. Nicely turned out by Schembri. Scorer of the only goal on 17 minutes. Away from Christie. Didn't quite get it into Stewart either. Play on. Good news for Aberdeen. Logan on the charge. Stockley ahead of him. Finds the gap somehow. Shinnie's in space on the edge of the area if he's required by Mackay-Steven. Feels that should have been a corner.
Very difficult to tell whether the ball had actually gone out beforehand, but I think the referee's called that one fair. You see the replay of it. For me, Shea Logan got plenty of the ball before the challenge. It was good play from Ryan Christie to recognise the space over on the left-hand side and play that switch of play. And the right idea from Mackay-Steven, face the full-back up, go and take him on, try and get to the byline. Unfortunately, though, just a bit of a heavy touch and he was stretching for it at the end.
Alef.
You see a bit of a change here in personnel. I'm not sure if it's just that passage of play or it looks as if it is a change, with Greg Stewart going into the number 10 position and Ryan Christie tucking out here on the right. Greg Stewart's not somebody that's got great legs, and he can easily play in that number 10 position. He's a cute, intelligent footballer.
Free kick has been won. Kyriakou challenging there with Stewart.
I really do think, though, that that's the important area of the park. That's the thing that is making the difference in this game. It's forcing Aberdeen back. Shay Logan has got to go 1v1 against Jander and allow the centre-halves to go 1v1 against Maglica and Schembri. You've got to back yourself at this level. You've got to be able to compete 1v1 at times. And it doesn't have to be for the whole game, because if you just do it for 5-10 minutes and you change the momentum and the dynamics of it, it forces the opposition back. At the moment, Aberdeen are conceding the territory and allowing the Cypriots to get into Aberdeen's half too easily.
It's back in here with Valentin Roberge. Name might ring a bell. He had a rather unsuccessful spell at Sunderland from 2013 to 2016. He only played 10 Premier League games in the end for the Black Cats. Jander looking to get forward. Even he, with his pace, can't keep that one in.
You've got to credit Apollon, because it's clever play. Schembri's not playing like an out-and-out winger. He's playing as an inside left almost, and it's forcing Shay Logan to tuck in there. But there's got to be a communication between the defenders, Anthony O'Connor, Shay Logan, pass the players on, and it just means then it allows Aberdeen to get further up the park.
Far by Jander this time. Aberdeen yet to have an attempt on target other than the free kick from Christie, which was palmed out by Bruno Vale. Shinnie, it's high. It will be kept in, and it almost runs to Stockley. Corner Aberdeen.
Just changing the angle there. Graham Shinnie eventually playing the ball in behind. It's actually a more difficult angle to play it there from the middle of the park, but it's worked out for Aberdeen, and got to concentrate here, because, as you've just said there, the chances have been few and far between for Aberdeen.
Stewart. Away by Alef. Christie doesn't bring it under control, and here come Apollon. João Pedro. Players ahead of him. Laid off nicely by Jakoliš. Schembri can't keep that in. They have had a similar Europa League history to Aberdeen in recent years. They've beaten in the third qualifying round of this competition for the last 2 campaigns. Most recently by Grasshopper of Switzerland, 5-1 on aggregate last season. One of those teams will break that disappointing run tonight. Taken quickly by Shinnie. Christie. Crowd getting on the back of the referee as Alef picks up a booking.
That's good refereeing, because, you know, persistent fouling is a bookable offence, and Alef in the middle of the park in particular, who's picked up here, he's had a number of, you know, fouls. That quite clearly is a free kick for Aberdeen, and it's good refereeing, because it just means that the Apollon players recognise they can't go around just making these innocuous fouls at times in the middle of the park.
And I think back to the second leg of Cherokee Brieg, that first half, Michael, we were watching that together. And Aberdeen's players were getting kicked about the place and no bookings at all. It will be Christie swinging this in. That was a good ball as well. Unable to direct their header on target.
Was a good ball, you know, getting past that first man. You hear the home crowd getting a little bit excited. I mean, much ado about nothing, to be perfectly honest. Andrew Considine in there against Maglica, I think it was. The referee has Referee's had a good game so far. I think he's handled it pretty well.
Agreed. Managed to sell 7,400 tickets for this game, by the way, Apollon Limassol, in making it a sellout. They actually asked ahead of this one, please don't arrive at the stadium if you don't have a ticket. Back by Jander. Christie couldn't quite bring that under. Shinnie.
Great feet there from Ryan Christie. The other thing Aberdeen have got to try and do is, I think they've got to try and hold a higher line. The back four, there's too many gaps in between the lines. It's very difficult for Aberdeen's midfield because the gap between the front and the back is too big. It's very difficult, especially when you're playing in such heat, to try and do that. But if they are able to move the line forward 10-15 yards, it just makes it a lot easier for the rest of the team.
Well played again, Aberdeen. Stewart wins it. And turning the ball over well in midfield at the moment, Derek McInnes' side. Shinnie. Kept in by João Pedro. The referee got that right again. No foul on the first one, foul on the second one.
You can see quite clearly there, Jakoliš is trying to buy the free kick from Considine, but it wasn't. The move before it, Graham Shinnie spinning the ball out to the wide area, in normal circumstances I would say it's the right thing to do, but between now and the half-time I'd get the message on to Aberdeen just to try and get some phases of play, keep the ball. You know, if you're going at 1-0 down at half-time, then it's not a disaster, but if you can start to get a bit of possession and feel like you're getting a rhythm in the game, they've not had that yet. So almost just keep the ball, not for keep the ball's sake, but go through the phases without trying to play too many penetrative passes at this stage.
Maglica brought down in shooting range here for Apollon Limassol. Anthony O'Connor, the player across this time. Lewis lines up his wall. It does look like Alex does have a very good shot from distance. The attacking midfield player, formerly played his football in Belgium and then in Ukraine with Metalo Donetsk before arriving here a couple of years ago. He's one of the candidates over the free kick. Low drive came in from Jander. In by Alef, away by Logan. Shinnie can't win it, tries again. Referee says play on. He felt there was a foul in there.
I think Aberdeen got away with one there. I'm pretty sure that Apollon Limassol would have preferred the free kick and the chance to put a ball into the box.
Interesting one in from Kyriakou, the current Cyprus international, who was in their latest squad to take on Portugal.
The right thing to do here from Joe Lewis, just calm it down, get the team up the park, get in 1-0 at half-time.
I think the referee saw an arm here from Stockley this time.
Well, Jayden Stockley has got a well-documented history of this sort of thing, and he's got to be careful, especially playing in Europe. His arms are flailing here. You know, I don't think he does this with intent, but quite clearly is a free kick, and you can understand how the referee's given him a yellow card as well. He's got to have a better awareness about him there. He knows that the player's there behind him. With the height of him as well, at times he throws those arms around, not with a great deal of intent, but it is dangerously given the opportunity to referees to book him. Last year he got 2 bookings and a sending off in a quick succession in Europe, and it caused them all sorts of problems.
I think you're right there. There didn't appear to be real malice in that, but the referee sees it. He will blow up, and Stockley is the first Aberdeen player to be booked on the night. 2 cautions so far for the hosts, as Considine can't clear that. We're approaching half-time. We did have that drinks break as well, so an extended section of additional time at the end of the first half to come, but no real injuries so far. Maglica. João Pedro forward. Alef is the player who keeps breaking out from midfield to mark Stockley for the direct ball up to him. Alex can't keep it under control. McLean.
The Aberdeen backline are going to have to be brave. They're dropping off far too easily and causing problems for the Aberdeen midfield.
They felt that Christie is laid there with something. He has given a free kick and doesn't want to give any further disciplinary action.
There's nothing. It's innocuous. The player, you know, Ryan Christie's cutting back across him. He clips him. There is absolutely no intent in that. He can't be, but that is terrible. You know, I've praised the referee so far. That is ridiculous. And I've got to say as well, I don't think the referee was actually going to yellow card him there. That's taken a long time. You know, the crowd have got excited. Perhaps the linesman's got involved there as well. But the referee's losing the plot here in the last few minutes.
The second Aberdeen caution in the space of, what, 20 seconds, and this one's for O'Connor.
Well, Ryan Christie's was never a yellow card. Never on a month of Sundays. This one here, on first sight, and it didn't look as if there was a great deal in it. You see, I think it's Maglica that's down on the ground. He's holding his face. Looks as if he's trying to suggest that he's been hit with an arm. Aberdeen have just got to keep their concentration here. Disappointing to pick up a number of yellow cards in quick succession, but keep the concentration, keep it going until half-time.
Last chance of the half as Alex hits it. Yard or so over the crossbar. Lewis didn't look too concerned. Michael, thoughts on the first half for Aberdeen?
Well, it's been disappointing. You know, the Cypriots, Apollon Limassol, have been the ones that have been able to implement their game plan and dictate the tempo. Aberdeen are going to have to be brave in the second half, hold a higher line defensively, get the players pushed up, getting a bit more contact with the front line, close the gaps between the lines, defence and midfield and attack. With the back line being pushed up for me.
A chance for Terry McInnes to work.
They're higher up the park and force them back, and maybe going to a back three and getting Logan to play right wing back and pushing higher up could work. But if my gut would be that I would stick with the formation as is and try and, as I said, force the back four to push higher up. And it's amazing how not so much change the formation, but just forcing things and engaging things higher up the park can change the way the game's being played. And also Aberdeen have got to find a little bit of rhythm, got to get some passes in. At the start of the second half, that was what I would be saying. Try and get some passes in, try and find a little bit of a rhythm. Don't play too many forced balls. Almost try and condense a 90-minute game into this 45-minute half in respect of build up, build into the game. Once you start to get your rhythm after 10-15 minutes, then you can start to go in search of that goal. Aberdeen are very much in this tie. They score one goal and they're the team going through, so all to play for in this second half for Aberdeen. And even if they were to lose that second goal, if they can get one, it means they can get to extra time. So lots to play for Aberdeen. Not any reason for them to feel downbeat. The first half wasn't particularly great, but all to play for in this second half for the Dons.
Well, it was always likely they were going to need to score. That is the situation now for Aberdeen. 1-1 on the night would take them through, 3-2 on aggregate. 2-1 to Apollon, of course, would mean extra time. And Aberdeen looking for an away goal. That's what they need in this second half. And I wonder if Jerry McInnes has faith in the fitness of his players, as they showed into the late stages, especially of that second leg against Cherokee Brieg, where they, especially in the last half an hour, Michael Stewart, had that little bit extra against the opposition.
Yeah, they did. They looked very fit and sharp. Although, as I said earlier, that game against Cherokee Brieg, it went exactly the way that Aberdeen would have wanted. And it's amazing when you get that goal up, your tails are up, energy comes from somewhere. This is a completely different beast here tonight. They're having to come from behind. But Derek McInnes has always got his side in good shape. I can't ever remember looking at an Aberdeen side and thinking that they were off the pace. So they're going to have to call on all those reserves here tonight.
McInnes said before this game that they were going for goals and for the win on the night. He also felt they deserved to win the first leg by a greater margin than 2-1.
Well, they may well be going for the win here tonight, but he'll be more than happy to settle for a 1-1 draw and get themselves through to the next round.
João Pedro on a yellow card, one of those at right back who Gary Mackay-Steven might want to test a little bit into the second half. Foul on Maglica. It looks like Stewart staying through the middle, something you pointed out, that switch in the first half, as he was in trouble down the road.
You see here, Mark Reynolds just been a little bit clumsy, but it's the right idea, getting in and engaging. He doesn't actually have to foul Maglica there, because I think he could have won the ball. But going and engaging with the centre forward higher up the park, not allowing them space to get comfortable possession.
Aberdeen have made 6 major signings this summer. Tansy, Christie, Stewart, Maynard, Mackay-Steven and Arneson. Arneson on the bench today. More expected to come through the doors between now and the end of the transfer window. Any departments you think they especially need to improve in?
Well, I just think with Adam Rooney not in the side, that, you know, it's been well documented that Derek McInnes has made bids and gone after quite a few strikers. He's got Kyriakou to come in at the back, perhaps another centre half. They're the 2 areas that I would think about, centre half and centre forward. And I'm pretty sure that Derek McInnes is doing a lot of work behind the scenes to try and get a few more in, although he has said that if the right ones come up, they'll still be going for it, but it may well be a case that they don't add any more in this window.
We saw that Sean Maloney might be on his way in, thought that he could take up a coaching role at Celtic. He's had his injury problems. He sort of scuppered what looked like a deal that was basically done and dusted after he left Hull. But McInnes was reluctant to really speak too much about Maloney, and it might appear that his playing days are over.
It does appear that way, you know, a wonderful footballer, Sean, and he would have been a real asset to Aberdeen, and I think there's genuine disappointment on both sides that the deal hasn't been done. But they've recruited well in that final third as well, players that can play in behind the main striker. They have recruited well there.
McInnes says they're viewing this tie like a semi-final, that the playoff round would be in essence the final for them. Talking about the fact that Jaden Stockley got sent off against Maribor last season in what he thought was a harsh red card. Stockley on a yellow here and has to be careful.
And that's what I was talking about during the first half. He picked up 2 yellow cards, if memory serves me correctly, against Maribor in quick succession. And again, I think it was more clumsiness that had led to that. And you know, he's got a reputation now. He's had a few incidents that have led to yellow cards and red cards for very similar incidents, and he's going to have to be careful here in the second half.
Change on the way. It looks like the Spaniard Adrian Sardinero, who can play at right back, is being readied. Former Getafe player, actually played in the Europa League for the Spanish side. Flares on the pitch here. There were flares in the first half, and we've got a stoppage as the smoke comes right across the pitch. Doesn't make the job easy for the players or for commentators, Michael.
No, pretty sure that man's job there, though, Joe Lewis, is the one that's most difficult at the moment. Struggling to see anywhere else. Don't know if he realises that everyone else is taking a water break.
Joe Lewis, one of those who signed a new contract recently, extended his current deal to 2020. He was in the SPFL Team of the Year, along with Shea Logan, many extending their contracts, including Terry McInnes and his assistant Tony Doherty. Deals until 2020 after McInnes recently rejected an opportunity at Sunderland back in June to take over at the Championship club.
And it's for nights like this that he turned down the allure of Sunderland, you know, because I think he firmly believes that there's progress to be made, specifically in Europe with Aberdeen. And this is it right now. The second half here against Limassol. Get the goal, progress into the next round, and there's genuine improvement. Don't get the goal and go out, and there will be a real sense of what if from not just the Aberdeen management team but the fans and the players, because I think they're capable. This squad is a very good squad that Aberdeen have assembled, but they've got to go and take this game by the scruff of the neck and impose themselves. And that man there, Graham Shinnie, could be central to that. In fact, not could, he is. He's central. If he can start to impose himself in the game, then he might get that message through to the rest of the players, and they'll take their lead from him.
Certainly one of Aberdeen's better players in the first half. Aberdeen, of course, have a great affiliation with this competition in its former guise, the UEFA Cup. Here's Stewart. A nice touch from Christie. He's such a smart player. He's managed to earn his side of corner. Recovering there was Roberge.
And look, you know, that all starts from Jaden Stockley with a wonderful layoff for Greg Stewart. He is capable of that. He just has to do it more often.
Well, they went short with the corner, and Logan has two players to deal with. Bad situation here for Aberdeen. But they get away with it as it's poorly executed with the pass back to Jakoliš.
And you see Shea Logan there saying, calm down. That is a really poor short corner from Aberdeen. They almost shot themselves in the foot. And Jakoliš running through. And it's a poor ball back to him. And it allows Aberdeen to breathe a huge sigh of relief. That's a few times Aberdeen have now played short balls and changing the angles, as we see Jaden Stockley coming off. For me, you've got the opportunity, put the ball in the box.
Well, that looks like Derek McInnes gave it a go. So he'd keep the system the same, and he hasn't seen any real rhythm change. So Nicky Maynard, who made his first start for the club in the first leg, comes on now, brought in from MK Dons in the summer, and looking to get on the score sheet for his new club. And we have to stop again.
We will interrupt the match and go into the dressing room, and the second time we will abandon the match. Stop, otherwise we go inside. Can you say that?
Well, that's pretty serious there from the referee. If everybody's heard that at home, he's basically saying that if it happens again, they will go into the change room, and if it happens a time after that, the game will be abandoned.
Well, it's affecting the game at the moment. Absolutely the right steps, the warning, the stoppage. I'm sure Derek McInnes would take an abandoned game. But we'd rather see this one through with Aberdeen looking to get an away goal, Michael.
No conspiracy theories now, Rob. There's no Aberdeen fans going into the other end now.
McLean. Maglica. Jander fought from left back again. First real sign that the left back, who was such a menace in the first half, is still alive and sharp here.
There's good play from Limassol, and Maglica sliding it in to that left wing area where we've become accustomed to seeing Jander.
Christie, Stewart. Fairly deep here, the home team. Picked up by Christie. Just slightly behind Stewart. Well held up by Maglica, who is looking to get around the back of O'Connor. O'Connor has to be careful because he's one of those on a yellow card.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, that's never been a free kick. And you see Maglica, he's not even calling for it either. There's a misunderstanding between the two Apollon Limassol players. But just before, you know, Aberdeen, they play a couple of passes along the back line, and then they're forcing balls forward. They've never been able to find any sort of rhythm in this game. They need to just spend 5-10 minutes of, as I said before, going through the phases, starting to get the link play going. Don't try and play the penetrative force pass at the moment. You want to try and get a feel for the game first. You know, the disappointing thing is it's been a disjointed performance for Aberdeen so far, and they've not been able to find that rhythm. They need to start sometime. We're almost an hour in now, but they need to do it now, and then once you've got that rhythm, you can start to look for those passes.
Well played, Mackay-Steven. Lewis has to kick. Alef easily able to tether it away from McLean after the heavy touch.
See, that's too easy.
Playing some nice stuff at the moment. Apollon Limassol as they look for a second of the game. It's the home side who are finding rhythm.
Yeah, they are, and Aberdeen defensively are not playing well enough, and it's causing them all sorts of problems all over the park. You see here, Shinnie, he's having to chase 15, 20 yards to try and get close to the players, and he can't get close.
Breaks very kindly on the edge of the penalty area to Jakoliš. Nice. Turned very smartly indeed there, Schembri. And in the end, the shot comes in from Jakoliš, and they are threatening at the moment with the Cypriot team.
Look, it's good play from the Cypriots, but it's also not good enough. You see Mark Reynolds there. What's he doing? It's nothing. You know, he's getting dragged into an area. He's not putting any pressure on the ball. He's still not back in the picture there. Logan's having to slide in. If you're going to go in with the centre forward, you've got to go all the way, make a physical challenge. There's no point in drifting in and sitting a yard off the player. You're leaving a gap in the back line and you're not doing anything. Defensively, Aberdeen have not been brave enough.
Goes against Logan.
Do you know what? That sort of thing should have been happening in the first half. He gives away the foul, yeah, but it's in the opposition's half. He's basically telling the players, you're not going to get an easy ride. But unfortunately, we're now an hour into the game. They've already got into the rhythm, they've hit their straps, they know what they're doing. You do that early in the game, it knocks them out.
Maglica. Well turned over by Shinnie. That's what he's done well today. Considine. Mackay-Steven. Go, says McInnes. Quick throw in from the manager. Stewart. Mackay-Steven.
Just recirculate the ball, go out the other side. If it gets closed down, come back out side to side. That's the game that needs to be played from Aberdeen at the moment. Back into the middle of the park, out the other side.
Brilliant from Logan. Shinnie. Better. Back post from Logan. Considine down. Maynard turning. Oh, and couldn't quite feed it into Shinnie.
Again, there you see a central midfielder in Kenny Logan. He's the one that's having to chase back. The two centre-halves from Aberdeen have got to do a lot better.
Stewart off. And Greg Tansey signed from Inverness on a free transfer following their relegation. Said he wants to run in Europe with Aberdeen this season. He's on now.
It'll be interesting to see what is done with the shape of the Aberdeen side. Will they push Kenny McLean in behind Nicky Maynard, which is perhaps what it looks like. Greg Tansey will go in and sit next to Graham Shinnie.
Brilliant from Mackay-Steven. Maynard's layoff not sharp enough.
Just a couple of minutes of play where Aberdeen, it's not been completely comfortable, but by hook or by crook they've been able to get a few phases of attack into the final third there. Hopefully they can take a bit of confidence from that.
Change coming for Apollon. Still haven't seen Adrian Sardinero. He's been warming up for some time. He does come on now, so he's going to come on for the goal scorer Schembri, who got the goal on 17 minutes.
Schembri has actually had a pretty good game. Apart from the goal, he's taken up areas of on the pitch which have caused Aberdeen problems. They've not been able to deal with them. It's not that he's done 1,000,001 good things on the ball, it's just the fact his movement and positioning on the pitch has caused Aberdeen problems. Just playing in an inside left position in between Logan and O'Connor at times.
Sardinero can play right back or on the right wing. McLean, nicely worked by Aberdeen. They're not going to let this momentum fade. They have the corner.
Greg Tansey's on the park now, and he's a wonderful set piece deliverer. Hopefully he just takes his time, puts a good one in here.
Defenders forward. Just over the head of the man in the near the post, back in by Shinnie. And Bruno Vale, who's barely put a foot wrong as the goalkeeper and captain today. Too much on his delivery out. But he caught that well. Shinnie. He's around Alef legally. Passes into the final third haven't been accurate enough, and they have got into good situations for Aberdeen, and they will be stretched here. Jakoliš. Considine. I think Christie wants to pull that back for the free kick.
bet my bottom dollar and Maglica's up, running about in under 10 seconds. There's absolutely nothing wrong with him here.
That's a poor decision. He's pulled the shirt of Shinnie. They're managing to ebb away these precious seconds at times. Apollon Limassol. This is what Maynard has to do. Oh, what a wonderfully guided pass as well into the path of McLean, who's around the goalkeeper, but could not find a teammate. That was an opportunity.
What a huge opportunity for Aberdeen. Without a question, without a doubt, that is the best opportunity for Aberdeen in the game so far. And as Kenny McLean runs through on goals, he just takes a heavy touch. You see here a wonderful slide rule pass from Nicky Maynard, and it just comes off his standing foot. You just wondered whether Kenny McLean was going to go down. You see here a lovely slide rule pass from Nicky Maynard. It's this second touch, it comes off his standing foot, but as he goes round the goalkeeper, Vale does very well to make sure he doesn't make any contact with Kenny McLean.
Well, that's a little bit of difference in style of play between Stockley and Maynard that we saw there in that moment, Michael.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's no doubt that Nicky Maynard has got better technique, better feet, and he's capable of seeing those forward runs. The concern for Aberdeen is that it's been few and far between those attacks. You know, I've spoken a lot about trying to find a rhythm. We're now in the last 20 minutes. Aberdeen have just got to try and get as much pressure into the final third. Balls into the box, bodies into the final third. Try and get some pressure from set plays or shots on goal. Because anything can happen once you get that ball into the box. Deflections, fouls, get a penalty. As we see the guys taking a well-earned water break because it's very, very warm in Larnaca.
2-2 on aggregate. Apollon heading through on the away goals rule at the moment. A reminder that the Europa League playoff round draw takes place tomorrow. As things stand, Aberdeen won't be in it, but we still have 20 minutes to play. The draw taking place in Nyon, Switzerland, and the ties will take place on the 17th and 24th of August. Derek McInnes will be desperate, as will those supporters, to be part of that draw. It's worth remembering that there are so many quality sides in the Europa League group stage this season, including the likes of Arsenal, Lyon, Lazio, Hertha Berlin, Cologne, Villarreal, and Real Sociedad, who Aberdeen do have recent history with.
Again, the game's still too stretched for me. Aberdeen's backline have got to get up the park. It's difficult, it's tough. This is the European stage that they want to play at. They've got to force the game up the park. It starts at the back. It's too easy for them to sit off. They've got to go and help their midfielders and attackers and get in contact with them.
Mackay-Steven. Aberdeen get the free kick. Good situation here. Another change here, Antonio Jakoliš, who came into the side today on loan from Steaua Bucharest. And he makes way for Marios Stylianou, a midfielder and defender, Cypriot international. So it looks like they're reinforcing at the back. Tansy. Oh, and that looked like that was going to be flicked on.
If Aberdeen can play for set plays, then they've got somebody in Greg Tansy who can deliver the ball really well. You see this here. It's a wonderful delivery. I'm still not sure what has been given in terms of a free kick. The Aberdeen fans behind the goal are clearly unaware as well, but mystified as to what on earth the free kick is given for there. But if they can get corners and free kicks, they've got Greg Tansy who puts in a great ball, and it gives
O'Connor with a foul on Maglica.
So you could have a showreel of Maglica's facial expressions after challenges he's had. It's like he's been in the wars.
Yeah, not much in that one, as Alex looks to line this up here. Oh, well fizzed in for the flicked on header from Hector Yuste. The Spaniard doesn't quite work out for them. Ten seasons since Aberdeen reached the UEFA Cup, the Europa League proper, 07-08, round of 32 on that occasion. And they were eliminated in the eventual knockout stages of the UEFA Cup, as it was then. It was Bayern Munich who knocked them out. Atletico in their group. They're desperate to get back to that level. Logan. Good delivery, McLean's there. Get Mackay-Steven! Couldn't quite work it over the line. Defender there in his way. Apollon Limassol a little bit deeper at the moment.
Well, it's one of the first occasions that you've seen Shea Logan high up the park. He put in a really good ball. They had plenty of bodies in there, Aberdeen.
Tansy. Christie. Handball. Bruno Vale eventually comes out, and Apollon Limassol players are going down quite easily at the moment. Well, I didn't really see much in the actual challenge itself to warrant this longer delay. And the referee with the drinks break as well. He's got plenty of time to add on at the end of the 90.
You didn't see much in it, Rob, because there wasn't much in it. You know, it's time wasting. Bruno Vale has got nothing wrong with him. You saw in the close-up there, he quite comfortably was on the ball, and he had a wee look up after the incident. This is just trying to kill the momentum that Aberdeen have built up in the last few minutes.
I think the physio team didn't even know where to treat him when they came over. And he's okay, surprisingly, so we go again. Aberdeen with 13 minutes of normal time here to get the away goal they need, or they're heading out of Europe.
Well, so far, 77 minutes in, I've got to be honest and say that Aberdeen haven't done enough in this game. They've been second best for a lot of it. But the positive for them is they're still very much in the tie.
Stylianou breaking forward, one of the substitutes for Apollon Limassol.
Accept yourself. Thank you.
So off comes Reynolds. And the change sees Scott Wright come on. No surprise that one of the more attacking-minded players is on. They have to do it. They have to make the aggressive change here, Aberdeen. Wonderfully done by Mackay-Steven.
Cypriots have been aggressive, you know, all night. They've never really allowed Aberdeen any comfortable possession or time on the ball.
Alef. Even if Apollon Limassol score, the objective remains the same for Aberdeen, get their goal. João Pedro. Alef. I think they want him to have a go. Looked like a rather desperate attempt to win a penalty from Considine. For Aberdeen, you've got to play on here, surely.
Of course you have, and I think the referee was getting a little bit upset with Jogios trying to get him up. I mean, seriously, he's rolling about as if he's been decapitated there. You know, Andrew Considine's arm comes up and touches him. That's it. You know, there's nothing to suggest or warrant the reaction that you've got from Limassol.
Well, Michael, I don't think the referee should be stopping the game here.
Well, I don't understand why he did stop it, because he was playing on before, and it was as if he was telling, you know, Joe Lewis to hurry up and leave the player, and that's exactly what Aberdeen should have been doing. You know, they're playing with a man down. Play the game on. Man out of position, go and exploit it.
It's killing seconds. It's killing momentum. 10 minutes of regular time to go. There will be plenty of added time, I imagine. Let's see what Aberdeen have got here. Tansey. They are throwing a few more players forward at the moment, Aberdeen. It's got to go into feet. Wayward beyond Maynard for the second time from Tansey.
He's better than that, Rob. He's capable of finding those passes. He's got to. With 10 minutes to go, you find those passes, all of a sudden you get into dangerous areas. You don't, it means that they can go and counter on you. They get possession. Greg Tansey's capable, more than capable, of playing those balls.
No way through for Scott Wright, who scored 6 goals in all competitions last season. See if the youngster can have a defining impact. O'Connor. This is where they've looked menacing in the second half. Apollon Limassol on the counter-attack, but poorly executed by Alex.
This is the way Aberdeen have got to play, though. You know, 1-0 down. If they go 2-0 down, the game doesn't change.
That's a challenge through the back of Nicky Maynard. So it's a card for one of the substitutes here in Stylianou.
I mean, how he can complain is beyond belief. And could you imagine if that foul was against one of their players? They'd still be rolling about on the deck. I just find it unbelievable how some of these teams, they get touched themselves and they roll around as if they've been crippled, and yet they fly into tackles, ridiculous tackles at time, and complain. Anyway, this is a good opportunity for Greg Tansey to put in a ball and put them under real pressure.
They won't get many more moments like this. In by Tansey, flicked on by Maynard. Oh, and it almost ran to Considine. I thought it had for a moment. Apollon clear the ball.
Well, that's a couple of corners or free kicks now that they've not looked particularly clever at. It looks like Aberdeen's best route to success in this game now.
Turned out well by Wright, who's added a little bit of spark. Too much on that ball for Logan, though.
You see here Nicky Maynard flicking it on it. I think it just comes off, is it Alef's hip? And they managed to get away with that one. Fortunate for Limassol. You see there, they were panicking on the sidelines. But that is the best route for me, I think. Corners, free kicks, Aberdeen now look to get Greg Tansey on the set plays and put the balls into the box. They've not looked particularly clever, Limassol, at defending them in the last wee while.
Fresh legs in attack, surely to hold up the ball for Apollon Limassol as Emilio Zelaya is brought on here, the Argentine, new signing for them. McLean. Logan needs to cross it. Well, not really away properly. And fizzed in from Mackay-Steven.
This is more like it from Aberdeen, building up a bit of pressure in the final third. Logan does well in the wide areas and it drops to Mackay-Steven. He's got two players closing him down there. But that's a good opportunity to try and guide one into the corner. But here's another set play for Aberdeen. Greg Tansey on it.
Right in front of the travelling faithful from Scotland. We'll come back out to Mackay-Steven, who will salvage the situation. Zelaya, the new player, onto the field. Flag, we'd have thought would go up, but Sardinero's onside. Oh, and tipped onto the bar by Lewis, but they have their second goal. It is the substitute, I think, Zelaya. And Apollon Limassol will feel they're very close to the playoff run now.
Well, whoever it is that's in the right back area for Aberdeen as they break here is the one that's played them all onside. Stephen on the far side switches off. I mean, what a save this is from Joe Lewis to begin with. And then Zelaya fires one in. But you saw Kenny McLean there trying to gee up the Aberdeen players. One goal still keeps them in this game. It doesn't put them through, but it gets them extra time. So as disappointing it is to see Apollon smashing the second goal, Aberdeen still have to score one, and if they do, they're in the game.
Yellow card for the celebration. But as Michael said there, absolutely the situation does not change the circumstances at Aberdeen. They have to score. They've needed to score since the 17th minute of this second leg tie. On by Christie. Right. It's a wild tackle. They'll take that, Aberdeen. Well disciplined from Apollon Limassol.
You see his right cuts back here. It's a wild slide in. And quite clearly, that is a free kick, and it's another great opportunity. They've got to make one of these count now, Aberdeen.
I think we're in for a fair amount of added time anyway. But Tansey now looking to take this to extra time, Aberdeen.
Joe Lewis is up in the box. They've got to be careful here.
Shinnie showing some maturity, but in the end, it all fizzles out. I'll be grateful for that, Aberdeen.
Saw the pictures of Derek McInnes there. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed his side have not been able to get a bit more control in this game.
Out by O'Connor. Considine. Right. Almost found a way through in between two defenders there. Stylianou, well tracked by Shinnie.
It's great play from Graham Shinnie, it really is. It's now or never for Aberdeen. They've got to throw caution to the wind.
Right. Does very well to keep that in play. Tansey. It's all Aberdeen. Well, it's got to be at least 6 minutes. Apollon Limassol not happy. But with all the stoppages, the water break, the rolling around on the ground, it's only right.
Lots of time, 6 minutes. You still see the Cypriots are full of energy, closing Aberdeen down, not giving them any time on the ball at all, putting them under real pressure there and forcing the mistake from Shea Logan. They've really knocked this Aberdeen side out of their rhythm. They've never allowed them to get any sort of pattern of playing the game.
João Pedro. Alef.
I feel sorry for the Aberdeen midfield. They've been given too much to do in this game. Too much running, taking the energy out their legs. Defensively, I think they've been let down.
Out by João Pedro. Kyriakou. Sardinero with a handball. Aberdeen do score, this place will be stunned into silence. But the 7,000 odd fans have made an absolute racket, and every decision that goes their way is another opportunity to kill time. Temptation is to go long. Forward by Logan. There's Wright sticking out his foot again.
Still, there's such a huge distance between the defensive line and the attackers for Aberdeen.
Right. Shinnie. Deflection takes it through to the goalkeeper. 3 minutes to go. Decision against Considine.
Just got to be a wee bit cuter there, Andrew Considine. It's up against Maglica, and you know that he throws himself to the deck at the slightest touch. The ball was in front of him. Sometimes as a defender you've got to recognise you can't win it. Don't even touch him.
We are on the brink of a new domestic season for Aberdeen. League and Cup fixtures against Hamilton. It would be a sad way to begin a new domestic campaign should they be eliminated here in Cyprus. All right, brilliant again. Oh, goalkeeper and defender do not communicate. Logan. Swept in by Wright. Good ball as well. And the header from McLean is straight at Bruno Vale.
It's a great ball in from Wright. Kenny McLean rising at the back post, and anywhere other than right down the throat of the goalkeeper, and you think there's a chance. In the end, it's very easy for the Portuguese goalkeeper.
Aside from Limassol believe this might be done now. City rivals are Limassol, knocked out of the Europa League already. Maynard. Last moments of the game. Oh, it's behind Mackay-Steven. He didn't know where that was. Considine. Oh, and right across the face of goal. And an opportunity for Christie. He was stretching.
You see the disappointment etched on Ryan Christie's face, and the support from Aberdeen. As it came back there, good bit of play from Nicky Maynard originally, and the ball came fired across the face of goal. Ryan Christie inches away.
Aberdeen are out of Europe. They have been beaten 2-0 on the night by Apollon Limassol. A 3-2 aggregate victory for the Cypriot side. Derek McInnes' team just couldn't quite find their rhythm. It's a team, Michael Stewart, who used European nous to win this one.
He certainly did, but to be perfectly honest, they were the better side tonight, Limassol. Aberdeen didn't do enough. Very disappointing for Aberdeen and for Scottish football that they've not been able to get through to the next round. But Apollon Limassol were able to get the upper hand in this game, and they never really allowed Aberdeen to get into it.
It's elimination in the third qualifying round once again for Aberdeen of the Europa League. And now they'll turn their attentions to matters domestic, which begin in a matter of days. It's a tough one to take for many of those players who felt they were good enough to go all the way to the group stage of the Europa League this season, having seen other Scottish sides fall at earlier stages in the Europa League qualifying process.
a real tough one for Aberdeen to take. I think there was a belief and an expectation, as you said there, Rob, that they could go all the way into the group stages. But unfortunately, on the night, they weren't good enough. I think the problems stem from defensively. They weren't strong enough. They didn't hold on high enough line. They didn't give the opposition, the rest of their team, enough chance to get into the final third and cause them problems. And you see here, Schembri with the goal, the first goal, Maglica at the front post, cutting it back. Plenty of bodies back from Aberdeen, and it was like that a lot of the evening. Lots of bodies back. The defenders sometimes have got to be brave and tell the players, go away, we're here. We've got to do the defending. That's a wonderful save there from Joe Lewis. Zelaya fires into the back of the net for 2-0 and take Limassol through to the next round. Really disappointing for Aberdeen, but they've got to look forward to the domestic campaign, and a lot to play for the Dons.
Full time here. Apollon Limassol 2, Aberdeen 0. The Cypriot side progress 3-2 on aggregate. Thank you for joining us this evening.